one of the most popular issues viewers also told us, and listeners of course, that they wanted to hear us talk about is transgender rights and women's rights. Who is allowed in women-only spaces? Why are politicians not standing up? Why are not enough people, basically, in the public eye not standing up for women when their rights are being eroded?
Yes, well, for example, here's an email from Russell in Canterbury. Now, he wrote, I think you should explain to the public and to any Labour MP what a real woman is. It's very simple, but nobody will comment. We need a public explanation of what a real woman is, and the same should be said about a real man.
Yeah, I mean, do we need a public explanation of what a woman is?
Just look in the dictionary.
Or just
no.
Or just no biological fact.
Just no biological facts, yes.
Yes, and we also had a few emails in. So, for example, Yvonne said, I'd like to see the latest guidance, see you discuss the latest guidance from the NPCC, National Police something College, that says transgender police officers born male can strip search female prisoners. I think this is absolutely ludicrous and further erodes women's rights. And to add insult to injury, they say that if a female prisoner objects, it will be recorded as a non-crime hate incident, apparently. National Policing Crime Council? Sounds about right.
That's the one, that's the one. Well, just to return to what Russell was saying there about the definition, I mean, here comes the real definition of what a real woman is, apparently, and indeed a real man, and crucially, why this is important for the protection of women, and we're going to be talking about this now with our next guest. So, Heather Binning is a founding member of the Women's Rights Network, and Cathy Larkman is a former superintendent for South Wales Police. Heather, I'll start with you. What is a woman?
A woman is an adult human female, Patrick. It's not difficult, and I find it very astonishing that so many politicians currently have such difficulty in saying that.
What do you feel? So we mentioned there the National Police Chiefs Council got it right eventually. That they're brought in this guidance that says male police officers who identify as women will be allowed to strip search female prisoners. How does that make you, Cathy? Let's go to you first. How does that make you feel?
Well, I feel very let down by this. I was a police officer for over 31 years with South Wales Police and retired last year as a superintendent. And searches, basically there are three types of searches. So there's the basic search of no more than outer clothing, and then you progress to a strip search and ultimately potentially an intimate search in certain circumstances. Now, a strip search and intimate search under the Police and Criminal Evidence Act has always specified that they must be carried out by an officer of the same sex and out of public view. So it's quite clear it's an officer of the same sex. So I wrote to the National Police Chiefs Council and the College of Policing too last year to seek some clarity because of a lot of discussion that I had seen on social media. And this year, when I got the response from them, I was absolutely astonished, to be honest, at how they were reinterpreting same-sex searches. And it's important to say as well in relation to this that the guidance actually stipulates that they will take that view from the moment that person presents in terms of the gender that they express. So they talk a lot about gender in this, instead of sticking to what the Police and Criminal Evidence Act actually specifies, that they must be of the same sex.
So just before I go to Heather for her reaction on this, just to confirm then, Cathy, your understanding is that they don't actually have had the physical transformation. If I identified as a woman and was a police officer, I could strip search a woman, could I?
Yeah, and it applies the other way around as well, but it's the moment you sort of say and you have that conversation with your supervisors in work, and that's the interpretation that the NPCC are placing upon this. So basically, let's be really clear about what we're saying here. If a man goes to work as a police officer and says, well, I am now a woman, without any changes whatsoever, without any medical interventions whatsoever, and wishes to search, including strip searches of women out in the community, then the National Police Chiefs Council are saying that is absolutely fine, and we support that happening, and that is our position. And I don't think that is acceptable. I don't think it's acceptable for women. I think it shows a lack of respect towards women's privacy and dignity, and it's just totally not on.
Well, like I said, now I'll throw over to you on this, Heather. Why are the rights of someone like me to identify as a woman and strip search, conceivably someone like you, more than your rights to not be strip searched by a man?
Well, they're not. They don't supersede the rights of women, sexed women. Are laid down in law. The Equality Act clearly specifies this. What's happening is there's an ideology that is trying to replace the word sex with the word gender. Now, gender, till now, has been refers to how one might present oneself. And I spent a lot of my life breaking down gender barriers so that girls didn't have to wear pink, boys didn't have to wear blue and play football. But it seems that more recently there are elements that want those barriers reintroduced and spreading it further into the issue of sex. That's why we're running a campaign at the moment, which is Respect My Sex, If You Want My Ex, which is based around the local elections. And we are asking all politicians this question: what is a woman? And do women have a penis? Which seems extraordinary that in this day and age, 2022, we're in this position where we have to be arguing this point. We are defending truth in science. And if we cannot defend this element of truth and science, what next is going to be challenged? It's just quite extraordinary that this is left to women. And a lot of men on the ground are very uncomfortable with this. What's happened with the police, what we've discovered about the police, the good work that Cathy has done, putting in letter after letter to reveal these policies, is happening in almost every institution across the country. We're starting with the local elections. We're starting with those that are representing, trying to get themselves on local councils. And we will be moving on. We're not stopping.
Yeah, and on that note, on what we do about all of this, I mean, we've had one of our viewers or listeners email in, Natasha from Carlisle. She says that maybe women should consider a tax strike. I'm not sure how that would work in practice, but she says, look, we've had lots of killings of women, of course. Those continue to go on. The numbers are staggering on that. Shrewsbury Hospital report came out showing how little care is given to women properly in maternity care. She thinks that the only way women will be taken seriously by government is if we hit them in the pockets. But it's hard to do that, isn't it? Let's go to you, Cathy.
Yeah, it is hard. And I think, women need to start speaking up. Lots of women are speaking up, I have to say, and making a lot of noise in relation to this and have been doing so for some years. But sometimes people, aren't broadly sort of hearing that message. So we're really grateful that you've picked up on this today. But men are speaking up about it too, and quite rightly so. And I would just like to emphasise, really, with regards to the work that's been done around strip searches, it's not just prisoners that this affects. This is potentially any person stopped for a stop search on the street could potentially be searched in this way as well. Any man, any woman who's searched. That surely can't be right, that you be subject to that. And whilst the guidance says that people can object and request somebody else as well, I think it's important to note that this relies on the fact that the person might be overawed, they might be under a lot of pressure, could be vulnerable, and might not know that they have that right because they're not going to be told of it. So potentially you can have a person here who's strip searched down to their underwear or beyond by an officer of the opposite sex, which involves physical contact as well. This is just simply not right. And, the police should be bearing in mind here the need to establish trust and confidence again amongst women. There are a lot of issues of concern at the moment with the public's relationship with the police. And as far as I'm concerned, this is totally the wrong way to go about re-establishing that.
Well, look, both of you, thank you so much for your time and answering some of our viewers' questions here and dealing with an issue that a lot of our viewers really care about, which is, of course, why we're doing this. Heather Binning is a founding member of the Women's Rights Network, and Cathy Larkman was there as well, former superintendent for the South Wales Police. Please do come back on the show. John, on this issue again, he just said, look, I would like it discussed how anybody can possibly think that a party leader that can't define what a woman is could possibly run a country? Well, ask and you shall receive, John, because that is what we've just done.